the results upload process.
If you have been following the election tribunal, you would have been hearing the reports on the tendering of evidence by the opposition. In the last few days, in spite of the objection of INEC and the APC, Peter Obi and the Labour Party, as well as Atiku Abubakar and the PDP for that matter, have been submitting evidence of fraud they collected from across the country. This is how you prove an election was stolen, not what other failed presidential candidates have been doing in the past. Well, now that is about coming to an end, it is time for the real fun to start, the calling of witnesses.
Tribunal, where witness accused INEC of sabotaging the results upload process. Under cross-examination by counsels to INEC, President Bola Tinubu and the APC, Mr. Tinubu, a software engineer, said he conducted investigations around the uploading of results to the IRF portal by INEC and discovered that there was a deliberate attempt by the electoral umpire to sabotage the process.
Today, Peter Obi and the Labour Party called their first witness. They did not just call anyone, but someone that has technical knowledge of technology. Why not? The case against Bola Tinubu exists because of the technology INEC deployed during the election. This election is supposed to be about the use of tech to strengthen our electoral process. So, who better to call as first witness to set the tone that the process was flawed, if not an expert in the supposed tech used for the election? So, in a typical Peter Obi style, the first witness called on Thursday, June 8, 2023 to testify before the Presidential Petition Court is a software engineer by the name of Mr. Anthony Chinwo. In the remainder part of this video, I'm going to explain 4 categories in which he was questioned and he provided answer. 1. Knowledge and expertise. When an expert witness is called, the first thing you want to establish is whether the expert witness has the knowledge in the subject matter for which he was about to testify. So, when they asked about his expertise, Mr. Anthony Chinwo testified that he has adequate knowledge of the operation of the back-end servers that INEC used. For people who may not know what this means, the back-end server is the portion of the website you don't see. It's the part responsible for storing and organizing data and ensuring that you see everything you are supposed to see at the front end. It is the same for every website, whether it is Konga, INEC server, or even YouTube. To use YouTube as an example, after I make a video, I have to log into my YouTube account and upload the same video so you can see. It is essentially the same with the INEC server. Somebody has to log in and upload the information to their portal so that we can all see. The process and the tech used to log in and upload data as well as protect it is what is called the back-end process. It is everything that is done behind the scene that the viewer don't get to see. This is the best way I can explain it for now. So basically, this witness, Mr. Anthony Chinwo, understands how any server works, including the INEC server. So he is qualified to answer questions on the issue. Just as an aside, one of the issues you might hear later is the witness testifying that he does not have specific knowledge of the beavers. INEC and the APC might want to use that to question his expertise, but that's nonsense. Only people that have worked firsthand with beavers can have that kind of specific knowledge. This in no way diminishes the validity of this particular testimony by Mr. Anthony Chinwo. The second category he was questioned was on his role during the election. When an expert witness is called, it is important to know their background. One way to know this for this particular witness, for example, is to know what role he played during the election. If he answered, for example, that he worked for the Labour Party, his testimony will not carry the kind of power it ought to carry, even if it is still admissible. So when Mr. Anthony Chinwo was asked if he played any role during the election, he said no. This is important because it goes to show that he is not biased in his testimony. Category number 3, credibility of Amazon Web Services. If you follow the pre-election and the election rhetoric of INEC, you would have heard them speaking highly of the fact that they are using Amazon Web Services for storing of the INEC materials. So, the tribunal learned today that that is a good thing. When asked on the issue, Mr. Anthony Chinwo said that Amazon Web Services is one of the most trusted providers of cloud computer services with 99.9% security assurance. He confirmed that the Amazon Web Services was usually used by companies and individuals that are concerned about security of their data. So we all presume that INEC was concerned about the security of the data stored on the server. But here is the kicker. He, however, said that the deployment of Amazon Web Services is one thing, but utilizing it properly is something completely different. So basically, just because you have a trusted technology does not mean that you will have a trusted result. If you store garbage data in a trusted system, you will receive garbage information from that same system. It's about the people using the system. This is exactly why Peter Obi called this witness, to tell the court that the people entrusted with the system did not live to expectation. Category number 4, information gathering and analysis. You need data to analyze any process, but the credibility of the information or data you use for your analysis is important for your conclusion. So when Mr. Anthony Chinwo was asked how he gathered information on the election he analyzed, he said he used publicly available INEC application programming interface (API) to conduct the analysis of the election. For people who do not know what an API is, it is an application programming interface that allows 2 or more computer programs to communicate with each other. INEC's use of Amazon Web Services provided an API that allows people to interface or connect with the IREV portal and gather information on the data that was stored there, which in turn allows for the analysis of the data storage, the manipulation, and the retrieval process. So, Mr. Anthony Chinwo told the court that he used available API sanctioned by INEC to collect all the information that were available on the election. Upon further questioning, the witness agreed that INEC ought to have uploaded data to its server starting from the polling unit. Well, tell us something we don't already know. One of the questions that I considered to be stupid was when he was asked if he knew the number of softwares that INEC deployed for the conduct of the election. He promptly replied that he's not an INEC staff, so he's not in a position to know the number of softwares that made the components of the softwares that INEC used for the 2023 election. What a stupid question. Anyways, after that, the witness was discharged and the tribunal admitted 4 INEC forms EC40G from Bayelsa State, which Peter Obi tendered as evidence. Form EC40G are summary of registered voters at polling units where election did not hold. Just before I move on, the whole gist of the testimony by Mr. Anthony Chinwo, the expert, is to show the irregularities and the inadequacy of the process put in the back end by INEC. This is the whole point of the election petition, that INEC did not follow due process, which means their outcome, which is the declaration of Bola Tinubu as president, should not stand. I just want to make sure I emphasize that. Actually, here's my favorite part of the day. After the witness has been discharged and the court has received the evidence from Bayelsa State, the court heard an application that Peter Obi and the Labour Party filed for permission to interrogate or question INEC on the technology it actually used for the conduct of the general elections. This is important. This is crucial. So the decision for the tribunal to hear this particular application, as you would guess, in spite of the objection from INEC and APC, is actually very important, and it's important to the whole case. Here are the questions that the Labour Party wants INEC to answer. 1. They want INEC to answer 12 questions, among which are the date the electoral body conducted functionality tests on the said improved system it deployed for the elections, as well as the names and details of those that conducted the test. Remember that INEC said they conducted the test and all of that. So Labour Party and Peter Obi wants to know who did it and when exactly it was done. Number 2, who created or deploy the 4 application patches or updates to fix the HTTP 500 error that prevented the e-transmission of the results of the presidential election on the 25th of February. Basically, they want to know the particular individuals who actually deployed or created the update to the system which now led to the error, the reason for why the presidential election result were not being able to upload. Who did it? They want to know. Number 3, what was the exact time of the occurrence of the technical glitch which prevented the e-transmission of the results from the presidential election on the 25th of February 2023. So, give us a time frame. Computer process is about timing. We need to know exactly the time that these things happen, and then so that other experts can analyze the process and be able to trace where the problem is coming from. If INEC is not hiding anything, this will be easy for them to provide. Question number 4. What time were the technology glitches fixed and repaired? That again is a very important question. At what specific time was this so-called glitch fixed and repaired? Number 5. what percentage of the result of the presidential election was uploaded on the IREV on the 25th of February 2023? Of course, this is the result that was used to declare Bola Tinubu as president. So tell us, what percentage of the total votes was already uploaded by the time you declare Bola Tinubu as president at night? Number six, what percentage of the result of the presidential election was uploaded on the IREV as at the time of the declaration of result of the presidential election on March 1st, 2023? So moving on for February 25th, as at March 1st, when you actually declared the election for Bola Tinubu, how much of the result have already been uploaded onto IREV? We need to know that. That is how we know exactly if your declaration was right or wrong. Because the Constitution actually says that you have to use the result that was uploaded to declare the winner of that election. Number 8, I believe, if the presidential election was conducted concurrently with the National Assembly elections on the same day and at the same time using the same technological devices, why were the glitches only with respect to the presidential election? This is the question we've all been asking. They kept saying they were glitches. If the same technology was used for the National Assembly as well as the presidential election, how come the uploading of the National Assembly results went through, only that of the presidential election that would have affected the outcome of the presidency were not going through? Please tell us, we need to hear this. Peter Obi and the Labour Party insisted to the tribunal that the answers to this question is very vital to their case against the declaration of Bola Tinubu as president. As far as I'm concerned, it is clear that the calling of this particular witness, Mr. Anthony Chinwo, is essential to making sure that INEC does not play hanky-panky with their response. As you can see, Peter Obi and the Labour Party are going through this case methodically, step by step. Every day I watch